Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Minds of Mortgage podcast. This is your host, Kelly Yale, and today I am joined by Kully Koomer. He's the founder and CEO of Lamata, which is a phenomenal AI powered business intelligence platform that is transforming how companies make data driven decisions. As everyone knows, I am a huge proponent of any system that has data driven decisioning. Kully is an accomplished technology executive with over 25 years of experience leading global business strategy, portfolio planning, and technology operations at very serious companies like Cisco and Salesforce. With Lamata, he's bringing real time AI driven operational insights to industries that have traditionally kind of struggled with fragmented data. Stop me when that sounds like the mortgage industry. He is bravely taking on this industry with this platform, and I'm very excited to introduce you to Kully. Kully, welcome to the podcast.
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you, Kelly, for having me on.
For people who are not familiar with Lamata, can you explain what inspired you to create the platform?
Yeah, so it was created to solve some major pain points. So if you look at around data and getting real-time business operational insights around it. So the industry, the data industry, has been promising, bring us your data, we'll bring it together in a data lake and a data warehouse, and voila, guess what? Everything, all your answers will be available. That has not actually materialized. Um, and it's left a lot of people with a lot of data in lots of different places, like data lakes and data everywhere. And they're trying to say, well, we've done this. Now I want to get an answer. I want to know which of my mortgage offerings are giving us the highest margin. And everyone scratches their head because the people who produced all this data platforms aren't the people who understand the business context. What Lamata does is it brings all that data from any place where you have data, business data. We make sense of it and we ground it in your business context and your business rules. And then we produce operational insights that you can then, in real time, with your real time data, make actionable. And the idea here is use your data for what's been promised a long time ago. We are delivering on that now to, to get the insights to accelerate your revenue and maximize your profit. That's what Lamata does. We bring that vision that was promised years ago to life.
I obviously couldn't agree more, right? I hope that one of the things that I'm known for in this industry is just harping on the concept that we have so much data, but it's so fragmented. We don't know where it's coming from or how to take action on it. It's the end of the quarter, and branches are sending Excel spreadsheets to the CFO. It's so old school the way that we approach this, and even companies that might be using, I don't want to use air quotes because I'm on a podcast, but let's just say other business intelligence tools. It's not what we're talking about. And when you describe Lamata, you say like it's an AI business agent, and of course everyone drowns in the concept of how AI is going to be in their business, but what does an AI business agent actually mean in practical terms for the mortgage lender?
Yeah, so I think you have to look at uh, the AI business agent for what it can do for different parts of a mortgage industry, right? Let's not talk about the AI business agent because what can happen here? I'll bring it back around in a bit. What we're trying to do here is for every person who's in the mortgage space, be you're a loan originator, be you're handling the CRM, be you're a C-level person, you're looking at titles, you're looking, whichever role that you have, the what you want to do is to be able to look at your data to make decisions that help you accelerate the way that you do your work and do that in a very intelligent way. And you know that that data that you are using is correct. and it helps you in terms of your workflow, and it automates your workflow so that you don't have to do much manual work. So the idea here is the hard work in terms of all the manual work and getting the data, analyzing it, putting it into a spreadsheet. With the idea, you spend like 90% of the time doing that. You get some answers in a spreadsheet, and you go, okay, that's the answer I was looking for. What we want to do is the AI agent, I'm bringing that back in, automate all of that 90% of that manual work. So it straight away gives you the 10%. You get it faster, it's more accurate, and you get better detailed insights because it's real time data. That's what an AI business agent should do. In the mortgage space, that's what it will do. It will automate that manual workflows that you have so that you can get into these deeper operational insights that you can take action on. It doesn't matter what your role is, right? It should help you to do the legwork.
And that is from your C suite all the way down to your salespeople. Because, I mean, if I think about questions that I would ask the system, right? If I were anywhere, really, any seat in any mortgage company, how many loan officers do we have that are licensed in California? We're going through a California audit. Most people will have, say, a workday, printout of that, or maybe they have an Excel spreadsheet. But I don't even know how they, in real time, actually update those, because as a loan officer, I could go and become licensed in California and my company wouldn't even know. And so it's interesting to me how many different practical purposes there are when it comes to just asking intelligent questions about the business itself.
Exactly. Like it's good that you mentioned Workday. We're actually partners, silver partners on Workday.
Ah,
And so this thing on like what the load agents are, if your platform uses Workday, you can combine that Workday data and knows everything around how many people, where they are, if you're bringing salary and compensation and commissions into it, you can bring all that in. And once you have that, you can very easily then tie it to your mortgage, what they're producing for the company. And so by not just looking at single pieces of data, like you're looking at a LOS or a CRM, right? I think the power that Lamata brings is it can bring a lot of insights from other platforms, like in this case, Workday, right? To really give you deeper insights in terms of how you are running a business. Like, for instance, you could say, I would like to understand for my top performers in the loan origination. Uh, what offerings? So that's in. You can say which state, which area, what offerings, and what have they sold in the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and what do you think that they will be selling, forecasting out for the next 6 months? Because we can bring all this data across lots of different disparate tools, we can get down to some real operational insights that really do help us consolidate like workflows and consolidate decisions, right? So the way that we look at this is it's you should look at this as a design. Any decision that you need to make, if you're a decision maker, right? Or if you're a decision maker, you need data. That's what Lamata can give you. And we are not focused just on your CRM or your LOS, right? We are focused on any source of data that you need to make the correct decision.
it's interesting that you bring this up, because one of the things that has absolutely plagued this industry is the amount of vaporware, over promises, lack of integration, lack of, it's almost always, on the roadmap, which is just a really cute way of saying I have zero idea when I'm going to be able to solve that problem for you. My
Mhm.
frustration with mortgage companies typically comes when we start that initial conversation where I ask them, what is your tech stack? And trying to drill down with a mortgage group what that actually means, right? Because they think immediately, What's our LOS? What's our CRM? There you go. But when you think about how many different platforms you have at a company, especially a mortgage company, where you may have two or three POSs. Some companies have multiple LOSs. Don't ask me why. You've got this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. They all use different CRMs. We use this for our accounting. And HR uses Workday. They use this. They use this. But the beauty of this idea, right, is that within a few days, you can take all of these fragmented systems and put it in one brain that you can then ask the kinds of questions you dream of having answers to. I mean, am I over? Is that an exaggeration of what you do?
No, that is spot on.
Okay.
That's what we do. Um, it's important to say that we are not asking you to change the way that you are working. We're not changing the culture. If you have five LOSs and four CRMs, it, it doesn't
We
matter.
don't care.
We don't care, right? You've had those for a reason, and and that reason is valid, right? Because you're using them. What we do is we say we don't want to be disruptive. We want to be additive. So we will take whatever you have and we will create an intelligent data layer. What does that mean? That means we go into your different LOSs, your CRMs, your payroll, your workday, whatever you have, and we create a virtual data layer. We make it intelligent. What does that mean? We we make it fit your business context, your ground rules for how you run your business, right? Like as an example, could be commission payments, right? For some offerings, you may give X percent commission. For some other mortgage offerings, you may give another. We, those are ground rules that you have to run your business. We add those into the intelligent data layer that we create by pulling all your data. So we make it easier. And then from there is what we give the operational insights. We are not here, we are not disruptive. If you have like analytic tools right now, the Tableaus and the Power BIs, the big ones, um, that's fine. If you want to, the way that we talk about this is if you want to make them dynamic, put them on steroids, and you want to get insights, custom data ingestions, and get something out in days, not through an IT system, right? You have to get tickets in. Lamata is that way. That's one of the big deliverables that we do is we're additive to everything that you have, and we will accelerate any business intelligence, operational insights, right, and bring it down into real time and into days. That's what we do.
One of the big things about living in a world with AI, right, is that AI is able to make things that are very complicated approachable, right? It doesn't make it easy, which I think is a big misnomer, right? Like this is going to be the solve of all the problems. But when you think about the silos, the information silos at a company, you think about how little maybe marketing knows about what technology is doing, or maybe the technology department is getting ready to sign, say, a 2-year agreement with a new tech vendor. They are not, I shouldn't say they are not, I should say typically that decision is kind of created in a bubble, right? There's a sales need, there's the tech department responding to that sales need, but not really a lot of, say, business impact analysis or things of that nature. So walk me through kind of how you can use AI to map sort of operational data to a strategic initiative.
Yeah. So let me add something on using AI for insights, right? What does that mean, right? That means that today you can use like a Gemini or a Chat GPT or a Claude, and people are buying those offerings, and then what they do is they put it on top of their data set, and then they will ask a question. So if you just put it on top of CRM, so I'll give you an example of this, right? um, is if you just get a GPT or a Gemini and you write on your CRM and then you ask a question, what's my revenue going to be like? Forecast my revenue out 6 months. It's an LLM, meaning it's a large language model. If you can't figure it out, it will give you the best probability answer.
Right.
If you ask it once, it'll give you 20 million. If you ask it again, it might give you 21.5. If you ask it again, it might give you 18. Try it, right? You'll be surprised at what type of answers come out. It's really important that when you do these when AI in the mortgage space, and indeed in any industry, you've got to make sure that your AI is trained. It's trained on your data. It's not running on raw data, giving you high probability results. So the AI in the mortgage space, that what Lamata does is we do not do this raw data because it's you got to make you're making operation. If you're a C-suite leader and you're making operational calls, and then sometimes you say, well, X percent of my people are producing 20, 80% of the volume of loans. And the next day it comes out as a lower percent, and you're like scratching your head. You go, hang on, but it's my data. Yeah, but if the data doesn't have that information or to be told how to calculate it, you will get these what we call hallucinating results,
Right.
right? And so the use of AI in the mortgage space should firstly be get your data in a structured way. Then, once it's structured, you add on your business rules around it. It understands what a mortgage offering is. It understands commission on different offerings. It understands how you run your business.
Yeah.
And then you run your AI on top of it. And then any decision you make, any insight you get, you can take action on it.
I mean, I it's funny to me. I mean, I've obviously known you for about 6 months. I've been lucky enough to talk about what I know about the industry and how it can be served by a platform like this. And when you're from outside the mortgage industry, it's interesting because it can be interesting to explain to somebody outside of mortgages how mortgage companies run. But I think that for the first time, I'm really seeing a change in the expectations of leadership to have true, real strategy for how to scale. And I don't believe you can scale if you don't know the truth about your business. And sometimes I think that people don't love a mirror, right? They don't love to actually see what's going on. But it's so valuable, especially when you think about the large decisions that mortgage companies take on, whether they're going to be acquired by another company, whether they're going to take on a branch that has 50 loan officers, whether they're going to push out a new product, whether they're going to move into the reverse space, if they need to scale up their operations team. There's so much information that these companies have access to. One of the things that's always sort of been jarring to me is if people knew the power of one platform and its data to actually be able to glean that data out. But then if you think about, well, now we have 40 platforms, we've got great data. We hope, we know it's clean from our vendor perspective. But then to be able to put it somewhere where a true brain can analyze really all the results from this data and give you real factual strategy forward answers where you can say, hey, how is this going to impact that?
Mhm.
And we've needed people for that. And hopefully those people have been armed with the right numbers and the kind of voice that you need in leadership to push something forward. But with something like Lamata, it's black and white. If you ask it, hey, I want to do this, it's not giving you an opinion. It's not political. It's not trying to look better than someone else. It's going to say black and white, this is the impact to our business. I think that is the most extraordinary part about the system is that it essentially gives truth and gives clarity around decision making. How does that land with you?
Yeah, I mean, like I look at this as like data driven decision making,
Hmm.
right? And at the moment, a lot of decisions are made by gut,
Yes.
right? The higher up in the organization you go for the decision makers, the gut tends to be generally correct. As you go into the organization, the people who are making day to day decisions, right, their gut tells them one thing, but they only have visibility to a small set of data. The higher up in the organization you go, you have a lot more data that just comes. And so you use your gut. Lamata is the gut for people all the way through the organization. Because the higher up in the organization, right, you see revenue data, you see cost data, you see growth data, you see forecast data. So your gut is going to be more correct. But if you're running a mortgage office and you just see data, a limited set of data, and you don't know what like the mothership is doing in terms of offerings across different other mortgage offices, you're going to make a decision based on that, but that may not be a strategic fit. So your gut is saying the right thing, but it's not exactly the best data-driven decision.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let's
And
say I want to, because I have to talk about Ted because it's phenomenal and sometimes Cully, not sometimes Cully, as somebody who has sort of pushed this industry, I think pretty much since I've been in it, um, Ted is one of the things that I would have given my left arm for any mortgage company to have ever had. Can you walk us through who Ted is and what Ted does?
yeah, sure. Ted is every agent has to have a name, and we're calling ours Ted. There's also reasons behind that, but I'm not going to go into that right now. But Ted's our agent, and the agent is like an agent. It's like a Chat GPT. It's like a Claude,
Hmm.
and the difference between Ted and any other agent, we're a conversational agent. So that means you can have a conversation with it. You can say, like Kelly, remember last time I said, give me a marketing campaign to do some mortgage offering in a certain state, right? And because we've had all your data, we understand the data and we've linked it all, it gives you a very relevant, it can give you a very relevant marketing campaign, right? And which you can then use as a baseline to move forward with, right? And then you can add all the extra insights on top of it. So what TED does is that it it has the ability to be able to decipher that, but in order for it to decipher that, we have to train it. What does training mean, right? TED, that's the important part of TED. Hang on. So behind every prompt that you type into TED, we've got 600 lines to 6,000 lines of prompt guidelines running behind it. What does that mean? That means that we've trained it that California, as an example, will have this type of mortgage offer. Texas will have these type of offerings. These are the loan agents that are performing in Colorado or something, right? So we tell you what that means. We tell the agent what a loan officer is, what an offering is, what a 30-year what a VHA loan is, right, and what that means. So we do a lot of explanation inside of TIP. And so what happens is that you don't get these spurious type of results when you ask, because they don't know, they're going to make a determination itself what a LOS is or a CRM is or something. So what we do is we base it and we ground it, we ground it, so that when you ask a conversational question like, give me a list of all the refis that I could do, which are give me a list of every loan today that's over 8% that we can refi and save um, $300 a month for every uh, consumer. You can ask that type of question of Ted, and the answer you get back is going to be correct because it's grounded, and more importantly, it's been trained. The whole beauty of agents today is is the more you train them, the better the answers. If you just chat GPT it or Gemini it, right, you're going to get variable results. And if you're making operational insights and you're actually making decisions on people, on products and areas you want to invest in, or companies that you want to acquire, right? TED is the way that we've trained you to make the right decision with the right data.
Oh, it's so imperative, and I'm going to take your example, and I'm just going to give like a real world example for the mortgage industry. Um,
Mhm.
when rates fall a little bit, right? It's all the celebration, and then like, okay, now I'm going to go and I'm going to refi this group of humans, right? Typically that is done by going into Encompass, seeing who's over that. Then the salesperson's going to translate that to their team. Maybe they're going to make calls, maybe they're not. Maybe you have a marketing department that is thinking ahead of time. They've already got some really great refinance things created for you, campaigns, ads, things of this nature. I have just been through this cycle with several clients, but it was literally the clients who I have sort of their data sort of curated. It's an easier thing, but it's still a shot in the dark. It is a shot in the dark. I don't care how anyone will. Look, it's been incredibly profitable for the people who've worked with us, right? Because we have stood this stuff up for them. But as a CMO of a mortgage company, to be able to ask Ted, rates are falling, how should we position this per area, per thing, per loan officer? Find me all of this loan officer's possible refinances. Let me kick off a strategy for this loan officer. Let me serve them warm leads based off data that we understand. That is a very, very different kind of marketing. And it puts the power of the data in the hands of the CMO who truly needs those kinds of insights.
Yeah, yeah. Even CROs as
Oh,
well. Even see,
yes.
like, remember earlier I was talking to you about all this manual flow, like
Yes.
89% manual flow. What you just described in getting the refi, getting that from Encompass, all of that should be automated. It should be done in less than a minute.
Right?
So every day a list comes in front of every loan officer.
Yep.
Here's a list of your, here's 30, 40, 50 loans that you can reach out to. That if you reach out, the consumer is going to save several $100s a month. Now, just think if you didn't have to do any of that legwork, that manual work, the agent does all of that, it does the analysis, sends it to your email. All that you have to then do, we can even have an intro email that goes out. That all you have to do is press the button and it goes out to the consumer. It goes out with your name. It goes out with everything associated. They know you. You've got that whole link going, and they can say on the email. You can even say, "Click here if you want to move forward," and a meeting automatically gets or would you like to see more details? You can do all of that work. That's the interesting work that the loan officer is doing. It's not that, okay, I've got to look through
Exactly.
5,000 lines of code. That is what you do not want to do with if you have structured data that Lamata has put together, made it intelligent, you've trained the AI agent, you then don't even have to prompt it. Right? There's no reason to prompt. You can just have the agent be proactive and deliver. There's going to come a time in the world in AI that prompting is going to go
For
away
sure.
and the agent is going to be giving you stuff. And so you just do what the agent says because that's what you don't that's the work you don't want to do. And you can focus on where you're making income.
I wish you would have. I can't tell you what I would have given to know you like 8 years ago, because there was no such thing as AI. It was just called Kelly. And that's Kelly and Ben. And, I would say, like, hey, like, I know this is about to happen. Can you find me all these opportunities? And we had CRM data, right? So we knew a lot of things, but it wasn't as if we could decision um, large scale based on that, right? And we couldn't have, well, I shouldn't say we couldn't, we definitely could, but where we should have gone with it, right, is even deeper, right? There are insights that each branch manager can know about their individual LOs and how they're interacting with customers and how they're interacting with the technology and what their sales cycle is. There is so much wonderful data, but what we stick with for whatever reason is this is what the loan officer can do. Oh, okay, here's your list. If you want to call them, if you want to email them, here's what you can do. You can use this CRM. You can use this other one. Oh, you want to use this, you want to use HomeBot? Okay, you can. And the problem with can is that you put all of this pressure on your sales team to have to learn new things and know these platforms like the back of their hands, and it's just not a reasonable request. Whereas if you are giving your sales team and arming your sales team, arming your branch managers with the power of being able to say, is this a good spend of money? Is it a good spend of time? Is the juice worth the squeeze here? You're presenting opportunity instead of presenting the ability that they can find opportunity.
Exactly. Do you know, and how do they find the opportunity today? They look at one source of data. They might look at a CRM
Yes.
and they make decisions on the CRM. That's not good
Oh,
enough. Your data exists in a LOS. It exists in Workday. You really have to, like, there's a lot of solutions coming out right now because AI is the place to be. And every tool out there is putting AI, like the one that you sent me this
yes.
morning, right? Dashboard view. And it's great. Everyone's doing that. The, the, the art of good operational insights is not look at one vertical data set, is to have the ability to look, like if you're making a decision on maybe a 10-point increase in your top line, you can't just make that on CRM. You got to look at your line. You got to look at your LOS. You got to look at your financial. You got to look at your whole payroll, work, everything. You There aren't any tools out there today that does what Lamata does. That it allows you to talk across different data sources, right? So that you can make the best operational decision based on all of the factors that are involved in that decision,
Yeah.
right? You are just If you are just working on one LOS and you're just trying to run an AI agent on top of that, good luck. If it's that decision that you want to make based on that LOS, right? How many loans? How many? This is great. But if you want to know margin and you want to know where growth is and you want to link it to CRM, that's where Lamata, the power of Lamata comes in. We are agnostic. We can talk to any data source, any tool, any product, and we bring it all together and then we run an AI agent on top of it. So we create a universal sort of data layer that gives you better decision making. That's what we do.
It's funny, just for the audience, just in this situation, you know, it's time to wrap the conversation in general. But here's the thing. I bet Cully and I could talk for the next 4 hours about this, because all I think of when we're not talking, Cully, is all the ways people can use it, right? And like you were just talking, and I was thinking to myself, I mean, it's if you load all like literal live loan guidelines into Lamata, you should be able to ask essentially it to be a scenario desk for you. Does this loan fit to this because of this? I mean, there's so many purposes for having
Mm,
this strategic brain at your company, and
yeah.
how many different ways you're going to be able to lean in on this intelligence. We're only scratching the surface of it in this conversation, because we could have just dedicated it to this is how it serves the CEO or this is how it serves the CFO. It serves the C suite, but it really gives the power of smart business development into the hands of people who may not have had insights like this before. And I laughed a little bit when you said, if the CFO looks into the CRM, that never happens. In fact, I can declaratively say that to you. I don't know one mortgage CFO who is using CRM data to decision. Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe there's lots of them and they're all going to come at me in the comments, and that's fine. I look forward to meeting you and talking to you about how your life can be different. But I want to just hit at the very end on what I believe is the most preposterous part of your value proposition, because I have worked in this industry a long time. And like I mentioned before, a lot of vaporware, a lot of insane setup costs. A lot of, hey, we're going to be able to get this done in 6 to 8 months. It's going to cost you, your firstborn child and $10 million. How quickly can you set up Lamata for a company?
If we once we get your data, and that's a very quick process, you can either manually upload it or we can API, we can connect into your data sources. That's very easy for us to do. That's like a few days process. We can produce you a full TED powered dashboard with operational insights in less than a week. And it's talking across multiple data sets, CRMs, LOS, we don't care. We can link all of that together. This is a week process. And once you've done that, 1 week process, and once you've done that, you can then automate it by scheduling uploads every Monday, every other Monday, every week, every month. It doesn't really matter. And so your data is always fresh, it's always live, right? And so if you are working on a board deck or a sales deck or a mortgage office deck, you can now just go into Lamata and just download one of the views of your insights. You want to know how much each loan agent is producing. You want to know the commissions that you're paying out. You want to know where the growth is and what product offerings. That data is always fresh and live. So there's none of this waiting for weeks for ticketing systems. All of that goes out the window. So as well as setting it up, which is not a multi-month, multi-million dollar process involving tens of people in the
Right.
company, we don't need, it's a low code, sort of zero code to get into Lamata in less than a week. And then it's just automated.
You know, there is, look, in fairness to the mortgage executives who have been around for the past 15 years, who have been lured by shiny things that have never panned out, or who have real concerns about putting money into something that may or may not work, or in putting their trust and faith in an AI product. How can they feel confident that the data that they're getting is correct and that this is truly going to be something that will revolutionize how they run their business?
Yeah, so that's the whole premise of TED. We always say there's no hallucinations, there's no human validation on any insights that TED does. And why is that? Because we only look at your data, your your revenue data, your loan data. We just look at real data, and we do not allow our agent to go out and scrape data from outside and infer it on top of your data. We do not allow that. In fact, our agent, if he cannot answer the question, the contextual question, like you may have a question, give me a list of other mortgage officers in Colorado that are selling the same type of loans, and what are their growth rates.
Yeah.
If it's not in your data that we have, we will say, sorry, we don't have that data. Right? It's important in LLMs to say that if you don't know it, don't make it
Yes.
up. Right? And remember the AI, OpenAI announced this thing a few weeks ago saying that, for structured data, we've got to relook at how we do these insights because we can't allow it to make highly probable insights that people can take action on when it's a highly probable thing. It's not reproducible. In Lamata, you go and ask a question, and the answer is seven. Next day, next minute, next 7 years, the answer will be seven based on the data set. And if it's not seven, if it's not in the data set, we will say we don't have it.
Yeah.
So that's the whole premise of Lamata.
It's just so powerful. I mean, like I said, Cully, I mean, I could have you on every week and we could talk about this stuff. I'm so grateful for you, one, just coming on and chatting with me about Lamada today, but I'm genuinely grateful that the conversation around the future of data in mortgage is really being reshaped. And companies like Lamada, who are, you're coming from outside of mortgage, but you've studied it now with such specialists for so long that you see what it needs to be, which is, I think, one of the most powerful parts of what you do, right? Your ability to sort of ingest what an industry needs, but then also be able to say, you don't have to worry about this platform. It is secure and it doesn't make decisions on its own. It makes decisions like the best employee you have ever imagined, who just happens to be sitting right next to you, able to give you these clear, smart, data led results. And speak a little bit about the kind of security you have.
Yeah, so we are the team that we built up in Lamata is we've released probably 500, 600 enterprise products, right? Hardware and software products um, in large companies like Cisco's and Salesforce's and Riverbed and AWS, right? So uh, we know what it takes to deliver a hardened product in the enterprise space.
Yes.
We and so we have built in a lot of trust controls and a lot of security controls. So I want to just highlight the difference, right? The trust is around your data. How are we handling your data? How are we controlling? How are we enforcing who can access it? How are we managing that data? How long do we keep that data for? These are trust controls. So if you go to our website, you can go onto the trust and you can see 24 by 7 all of our 83, 88 controls that we have, 88 controls now that we have running across your data. These are all enterprise grade and they're running 24 by 7. You can get a status on that. And then there's a security aspect of it. We run secure environments. We have full, what we call admin controls. We have full secure cloud controls. We can run on any cloud platform. We're currently running on AWS, so we're using some of their controls. We have full authentication around like SSOs and Google sign on, whatever, right? So we built all a multi-factor authentication. So that's when you get this number on your phone, right? Which is annoying sometimes when I'm doing a demo and I have to stop and I have to put the number in. But that's what we do, right? Even for our sandboxes and our trials, we've built that in. So our product, and we're partners on Workday. We're an innovation partner with Google, right? And so we have built in all of the right controls. And also at Salesforce, when I was in Salesforce, I was working on all of the trust side. So all the sales clouds, marketing cloud ran on the infrastructure. I was in the infrastructure side that we built in all the trust controls. So you can be rest assured that the controls that we have for trust and security are no different than any other large technology company that you're currently buying your products from.
And I think that that is beyond a huge value for Lamada, is that this is not some guy has had a good idea and we're using ChatGPT a lot and decided that they were going to come up with a company. This is very serious tech builders building something very secure that people can trust, because it's really your passion and mission to make these insights something that a company can absolutely trust. Even beyond the opinions and the guts of other people, to see it in black and white and say, I know and can trust this is a good decision for my business. And I think that that is a gift to the industry, and one I hope that people start taking very seriously.
Yeah, exactly. We wouldn't be partners with Workday or Google if we hadn't built
Yes.
those.
Yeah, Google just doesn't hand those out. They don't,
Yeah.
they told me I was the nicest person they ever met. I got an award. It says Kelly's the nicest person. Um, well, Kelly, I just so appreciate you taking some time. If you're interested in learning more about Lamata, I will tag Kully and Lamata in this post, but you can also go to lamata.co, correct?
That's
And
correct.
you can look at what they offer. There's an entire section for mortgage. And the nice part about this is that in many ways, this product is something that can grow with the company and hopefully grow the company. And there's not a lot of, in my humble opinion, technologies that can make that promise that when you have something like this on your side, you're going to see ROI very quickly. You almost you almost can't not find ROI in it, right? Because that first day when you look at dashboards, you're going to get some kind of insight that, I mean, you tell me if I'm out of bounds here, but when I've seen it, it's like, look, I got enough insight in the first week that I paid for it for this year. Is that fair?
I would challenge you to find the contrary.
Yeah, I mean, I love this. I love it. I love
Yeah, because I think the ROI on the Lamata itself is just like you're right. The first insight you can save yourself $5,000 or five
it. Yeah.
million dollars. It doesn't, right? The agent. That's the whole point about the ROI. Lamata is an agent that accelerates revenue and accelerates profit. You can't put a price on that.
No, you certainly cannot.
You cannot do that, right? And it's the first time that it looks across all of your data to give you that, because then you know it's
Yep.
grounded, right?
Absolutely.
You don't need to go and ask a team in finance or strategy to go away and they come back 3 months later, right? That data now is at your fingertips and it's correct.
I love it. Cully, I'm so excited to see where you take Lamata, and just grateful for the conversation, and look forward to seeing what you do next.
Thank you. Thank you. Great conversation. Appreciate it.